Tell me a word a married man would use to fill in the blank. I would blank for sex. James.
Pay.
Bethany.
Cook. Clean.
I would lie for sex.
Yes. That's a guy answer. You don't know how deep this runs with us. Lie.
I've never done this, but beg.
Yes.
I would never do.
Beg.
I'm gonna kick it up a notch and say, kill.
I would kill. Yes. Boulay family, get ready to steal.
Now, this isn't me. I would cry for sex.
Baby, did you let the two women down there influence your answer? Yes, you did. Why would you do that? This is a guy question. Number 4. Die. We'll buy it. We'll kill you about it. We'll beg you for it. We'll lie about it. And at the end of the day, we'll lay down our life for it.
Wisdom. The female body was designed by our Creator to be a source of pleasure, creativity, fertility, movement, strength, well-being, and fun. And the processes of the female body are imbued with wisdom that connects you with your inner guidance.
A vaginal, like plethysmograph, whatever it is, measures blood flow in the vagina. Women's vaginal blood flow responds to erotic things of all kinds of things in nature. So a sunset might increase vaginal blood flow, a flower, a beautiful scene, or being with a lover who she feels safe with. Naomi Wolf talks about the vaginal pulse index amplitude increasing when a woman saw her husband heave a couch off the bed of a truck because he was so strong. So we have this amazing connection with Eros and with life force in our body.
These teachings have been a part of Egyptology for thousands and thousands, and this is a part of African teaching, by the way.
Yeah, there you go.
It has been co-opted, but I don't want to get into that. About divine femininity, that was here before. That's why when I hear about Adam and Eve coming from Adam, there's something about it that just shakes me, because it's like, what do you mean? Look at
humans come from us.
When you look at reproduction, it just doesn't make sense to me. But, I get it, because we're talking about colonized Christianity from the Western world, too. So that's a whole nother situation.
Exactly.
I'm going there right now. God bless America.
There should be a little more reverence for the female body, not in Playboy. Right. I mean, as what she articulated in the beginning.
Yes.
It is just a vessel of pretty cool stuff.
Okay.
I tell my friends all the time, like they're like shameful about the menstrual process, like trying to hide products, like Suzanne said. I'm like, no, that's your body. You didn't really choose to have any of those things happen. They're happening. Don't let society shame you into hiding this thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of having to have that basic kind of friendship, that basic kind of understanding of being kind and good and knowing not to hit below the belt. And then, like I said, so we've had, both types of, all types of everything within our marriage. We've managed to still love each other and want to be with each other. And so, we're getting older. I'm in my 60s, he's in his 70s. And we just decided that this is what we want to do. And, we make it work. It is more work on the side of the woman, in my case, where you sit and say, okay, do we need to go to counseling? Because, most men say, I don't want to talk about it. except for Char's ex. He's really, really verbal. It was very interesting to hear him talk. But, you know, all I can say is that you got to be with somebody that has the basic foundations in the first place. And then we've just made a way to get through things and keep
two
going.
people have to be secure within themselves. You cannot take personally the other person. And the other thing that is a true reality is there is nobody that is perfect. There's one thing if a person's in a relationship abusing you, lying and cheating and carrying on, but you have to be able to be mature enough to understand that that person that you're with, just as you are not perfect, they're not perfect. So it sounds like your sister and her husband have been able to understand that based on whatever maturity level they were at and awareness of who they are, the personal understanding of where you are, self-security, and not taking the world around you personally, as well as perhaps they had their baggage somewhat in check. But as she said, they still had to deal with, you know, the issues that come up in relationships. That's all I'm going to say.
Wish I knew about love languages 1820.
Oh, that was so good.
Because I knew love languages, like now being single is much different because I understand love languages. And if his love languages is buying me gifts and my love language is quality time, and he thinks he can love me by giving me gifts, but I'm sitting home alone.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That right there.
Right?
That right there.
Keep your toys, keep your presents. Where are you?
Come on. Yes. Yeah. John, his perception of what happened in the marriage, he continues to defend himself. And you all have heard him say it probably like 30 times now, that I should not have left the marriage. But there were things that were said and there were actions that were done. What he doesn't understand is the reason why I played that clip, your words, the way you talk to a female, you know, just the little things that you do or you don't do. When we got married, we were just so happy to finally be married and we could just let ourselves go sexually. And we were really enjoying it. And the attention that he was giving me, all of that kind of went out the window, where now it was just like, roll over, your body's mine, and I want to take it, you know? And there was no like sweet nothings, like whispering in my ear or the touch and all that. It was just like hump, 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 hump. And I was trying to tell him, like, you know, my body, it wasn't reacting. So the juices weren't flowing. So it became very painful for me. And I didn't know how to tell him that. And for me, it was like, I'm supposed to just, any kind of pain, I'm supposed to just suck it up and just keep moving and just, you know what I mean? And so he didn't understand. And so he shut down. And like within the first month of our marriage, he came home and he was pretty upset because we were like morning, noon, and night, morning, noon, and night, morning, noon, and night, every day. And after a while, I was just like, my body was hurting because I had never been sexual before. And he came home and the first thing he said to me was, look at you, you're ugly. And I just sucked it in, and I no longer felt attracted to him. He wasn't attracted to me or attractive, you know, and you know, in my psyche, in my head, it was just like, how am I supposed to process this? But we never talked about it. We just moved on. But had I known that it was okay to share how that made me feel, I honestly don't think we probably would have been divorced, because it was like all of this frustration on both ends. I was frustrated, he was frustrated, and he comes, you know, his family was just like loud and argumentative, and I just didn't do anything like that, you know?
I think I respect that. I believe what you guys were talking about earlier, super important to this subject matter, because again, CHAR and I, remember, she was the first woman that I had ever been with sexually. I was a virgin. I'd never had intercourse. So obviously we went through a few years of dating where we didn't hold hands and we were doing Bible scriptures and so on and so forth. So obviously
I was bored out of my wits.
Char is actually exactly right about this. My only real mentorship around the sexual aspect of a relationship came more from HBO and pornography, and there really wasn't a good role model in our church setting that dealt with all these things that we're diving into now. So when we finally started to become intimate, you know, from the breast down and such and such up, and started to have intercourse, and we got into marriage, I was basically used to the idea of just penis vagina. You know, I didn't know she had to basically over time teach me these things that women desire, and that's totally should be totally natural and welcome. But basically, when I said to her, "You're ugly," who would want you? And that was a terrible thing to say. She had turned me down for sex, and so I didn't know how to process that. I was like, okay, you know, I can't have any. And basically, out of my mouth came, "You're ugly. Who would want you?" And so that was a terrible thing. And I think she shut down. But of course, my actual example of love was a lot bigger than the words that I said. But I can totally understand what Char is saying, because we were both very uneducated in the area of what you guys are talking about now, and knowing what your body is and how it feels. And had I been more connected with, as I said earlier, if men are a little bit more well prepared with knowledge about themselves and about women, a lot of these pitfalls or landmines that we run into in relationships can be avoided. And unfortunately, we didn't have a really great role model or mentorship in the religious environment that we grew up in, that was extremely strict and religious and over the top. But that being said, there's more to talk about with that, but I can understand why a lot of relationships don't work. It's because ignorance destroys relationships, unfortunately.
Can I ask a question about this situation with the two of you? One, Jonathan, did you ever apologize to Char? And two, Char, did you ever forgive him?
Yeah, I did. We did after the fact. Of course,
No,
as
no,
you get
not
older,
after the
you become.
fact. Years, like it was about like 15 years later, because I
But
still never
listen,
told him how that made me feel.
listen,
I
I
still
think
never
Char's
told
right.
him how that made me feel.
We didn't communicate effectively, but really, at the end of the day, we
And it wasn't
both.
just that, because it led to other
It was.
things.
Look, I realize now when I look back, there is absolutely nothing I could have done to keep Char in the relationship. There's nothing good or bad I could have done, because she didn't know herself. She didn't love herself. She had a
Well,
lot.
I didn't mean from that perspective, Jonathan. I was asking if you ever apologized, and
I
because this
did.
conversation 2
Once
weeks ago started with
became,
closure.
and I've apologized several times, but once it became clear to me,
You know
what
those
triggered,
apologies. But go ahead, yeah.
once it became clear to me where I was and what triggered that and what I said and how it hurt her, I certainly apologized. And I think she brought it up and we talked about it. But I think the overall point is the ignorance that really affected our relationship. I think it's common though in relationships, and you know, people go through a lot of hurtful moments and times around sex, around different things in marriage because of the ignorance. But I don't think Char leaving our relationship, again, I will always say, was not justified. I was not abusing her. She had her own issues, and I had mine. I think she's
Okay,
going to ever
Jonathan.
meet.
Jonathan, I was just looking for a simple answer, just to see if there was
okay.
ever
Well,
closure
you know me, I go
around some of
the. I don't say much,
just
but
some of
once I
the.
get going, it's hard.
Oh, he says a
Well,
lot.
well, just some of the,
Anyway.
like she was describing some of the hurtful things and saying, of course, that was an isolated statement. There would have been other statements, but certainly that statement would not have been the flower that the lady was referring to earlier. Or the
Char's
sunset,
right.
right?
It was very hurtful. You say that. Oh, she turned you down for the first time. You still don't have a right to say that. But that being said, Char knows I'm a loving person. She knows, if you look at the big picture of my relationship,
Well, I don't think
Char,
we're getting into the
know.
Jonathan.
Yeah, it's
We're getting
okay.
into the Dr. Phil, where you make a statement and then end it with but so that you can go on to something
Oh,
else?
well, let's take the butt out. There is
Yeah,
nothing
let's
I
take
could
the
have
butt
done
out.
to love Char to keep her in the relationship. I did not cause Char to leave our marriage.
Okay.
That's her issue, and it's with all of her relationships. It's not just the marriage. And she's said it. She's working on herself. And I had to reconcile with that. And I'm not getting worked up because I'm angry. I'm just saying I get frustrated with the idea that, well, Jonathan, my ex, and I left, dude, you're never going to find nobody better than me. Let me calm down.
I'm
But
sorry,
I
if
love
anybody
Char.
has to go, you can, but I need you all to
Listen,
hear.
Char, I respect her journey, but I had to detach from it because it was killing me. I gave more of myself and my love to Char than I gave to myself.
That's
oh my
not
God.
true, but it's okay.
I mean, I nearly killed myself loving Char and everybody else. And now I'm just learning how to love Jonathan.
Okay.
I'm looking for
John, this is Pam again. And as a woman who has been married for 40 years, I can say that the most important, when you all talked about love earlier in the word, it's the words. I mean, a relationship and love to me is all about simple words. You can say a few simple things, I just cannot believe I did this, or do you know how much I just anything, I don't think I would be myself without you. Words, simple words. And we talked about the 7 languages of love, and it's so real.
Yeah, love language.
Your
Love,
name.
He loves to buy me gifts and jewelry. And do you know, I do not care. He bought me a ton of jewelry for my birthday. And it's like, okay, I mean, I'll wear the same thing for 10 years, 15 years, doesn't matter. But it's the words, it's the service. One of them is service. If I come down and he has sneaked and got my car washed and detailed, oh my God, now I'm horny. Okay.
Pam,
breakfast. Okay, now
come on, that's what I'm talking about.
And this is what she's talking about. And when she says
that's what I'm talking about.
Says her husband buys her jewelry, she doesn't just mean jewelry, she means jewelry. She really means
now,
I mean,
Pam,
like
let me ask you something about the words. Help me understand something. Is it a one-way street, or does it matter when women don't express gratitude for anything, or they don't ever apologize? And I will say all women, but there seems to be the theme, what is it, the sisterhood of the traveling pants, that just can't admit that the woman did something wrong. Is it just me? Do the words work both ways?
John, it's not you.
Help me understand that.
Okay, okay, so I really think even with women's sexuality and everything, if we don't feel emotionally safe, then it's a complete turnoff. You cannot make your body have sex.
And respected.
That's right.
You cannot make your body, you can go through the motions and you can't even do it. Because it's an emotional aspect for women, speaking for myself.
You kind of missed my question. I was saying, does it matter when women go off for no apparent reason or express absolutely no gratitude? I was working 2 years without a day off when Char left. 2 years of my life without a day off. I was working at a church and working at an optical company to make sure they could live at Pike Creek condominiums with a tennis court, swimming pool, clubhouse, and every other freaking amenity you can imagine. Does it matter when a woman expresses gratitude to a man that has worked his whole life so that she wouldn't have to?
If that's not, John, can I answer you? If that's not her language of love, see, you seem to think that should be enough to make everything wonderful. But what you're doing is giving gifts. And that's not apparently what was turning her on. She wants you to act right, to treat her right, to compliment her, make her feel good about herself as all of us get older. And then, so what you did, that's heroic, but it doesn't feel heroic to somebody if that's not how they feel about what you're doing. It's wonderful that you did that. But if that's not her language, then it doesn't matter what you did.
And this is why this discussion is so important, because when I do have a men's ministry, a men's forum that will be geared toward helping men understand themselves and women. One thing you have to understand about men and women, that when men are stressed out, they don't want to talk in most cases. When women are stressed out, they want to talk. And a man's mind, it's set up like a warehouse. A big warehouse, little boxes, nothing touches. The most important box to men is the nothing box. We will go there every time. That's why they did a little research. A man can fish for 3 hours and their brain wave is like zoom, nothing. When a man is stressed out and he's sitting there in his nothing box and a woman says, let's talk. He said, hold on, no, I'm in my nothing box. She wants to come in and talk. He says, I'm in the nothing box. We'll go there every time. That's our favorite box. A woman wants to bring things into that nothing box. In other words, learning one another is important. You still have to, every once in a while, once every 10 years, you have to say, I'm so thankful for the fact that you put 20 years of your life into my music ministry while you were keeping us from being homeless.
John.
And what, so these are,
John,
hold on, don't interrupt. Don't interrupt. This is important. This is important to me because this is my story. 20-something years of almost 30 years into CHAR's personal, original music ministry. When I met her, I was a songwriter. I haven't recorded one song of my own at a level that I work with CHAR's music in 40 years. Don't talk to me about love languages. I'm not being disrespectful to you. I'm just saying that it kind of, I understand love languages.
You sound very,
of yourself.
You sound
Let me
very
say
angry,
this and I'll shut up. Let me finish. Love languages is giving of yourself. I've given CHAR Shan McAllister more of myself than I've given me. And that's my final word.
The lack of boundaries, and you need boundaries in a relationship where you have a give and take. You know, everyone has basic needs. There's 5 basic needs William Glasser talks about. And in those 5 basic needs, you need to have love and belonging, your survival, your power, freedom, and fun. So if it costs you freedom for someone else to have love and belonging, that's an unhealthy need being met. And it's only being met because it's like, oh, if you want to survive, you want a roof over your head, you want this, then you got to give up your freedom. You got to give up your fun. You got to give up your power so that I can provide you with the need of survival. That's an unhealthy relationship that needs boundaries, because everyone's entitled to their basic needs being met. And that includes love, belonging, power, freedom, fun, and your survival.
And
That's great.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
Amen.
Yeah.
And like Suzanne said, respect.
Respect.
Because what I heard was a grievance from CHAR, and then I heard every reason that CHAR didn't do something right. That's what I heard. I heard a grievance from CHAR, and there was no desire to attend to that grievance. Instead, it was what the other person didn't get.
A counter
And John, if you're going to teach
let me
other
understand
men,
what you said. Did you say you heard me say everything that CHAR didn't do right, or what? I missed that.
Yeah, when you were talking about when CHAR was saying, she made one statement and gave one example about what you had said to her that didn't make her feel good. And then you started looking at all the ways that CHAR wasn't grateful, or that CHAR didn't appreciate,
I
or
wasn't grateful,
CHAR shouldn't have left you
But
anyway.
Lynn, let's make sure we keep it in context. We move beyond that. That calling her ugly was at the very beginning of our marriage.
Which is a month.
So that's not justification, but we're looking at a big picture here. CHAR has never been abused or hurt at all by me.
She's not an animal. She's a human being.
Right.
Thank you.
And you don't get accolades for not beating her. You don't get applause for not putting your hands on her. I mean,
listen, you're taking out of
verbal and
context
emotional.
a moment in time that was something that I understood was not right.
It wasn't just a moment in time.
But
it's not who I am.
Okay, Jonathan, nobody's attacking you as a person. What she simply did, wait, hold on for a second. She shared an experience that affected her, and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 women coming to you to say, you're probably not responding in the way that could be.
And then Lynn, and
very
then we
well.
moved on, and I said,
No, I know.
I did
heard.
many
Listen.
things.
We're very clear
Many
about what we're
things.
hearing.
I wasn't trying to get into our personal,
Yeah.
situation. Just using little things, the one clip I showed.
Go ahead, Lynn. I'm sorry for interrupting. I'm just a little bit on edge right now, but go ahead.
I know, John, I'm sorry. I just want you to hang in here. This is fascinating for all of us. This is a miracle. This is a blessing.
Yes, it is.
And
Yeah.
I think
Let's just
for
all
me,
talk.
I love the fact that the two of you are able to be vulnerable enough with us.
Yes.
To share your experience and to share your feelings. It can't be easy for either one of you, but in a sense, it's probably very healthy to be transparent in this way, because otherwise all of these feelings and emotions are locked away someplace, never to be discussed again. So now they're sort of out in the open, but maybe all I'm suggesting is, what I have heard from you since the last Zoom is that maybe there's some abandonment issues or resentment because CHAR left. And what happens for me is I hear that when you express how you feel right now.
Well, let me make it very clear very quickly if I can here. I understand exactly what went on in our relationship. Okay, so I shifted from the fact that I said a hurtful thing to CHAR in the first part of our relationship. It's been apologized for. Over 30 years of serving CHAR as she has served me, there is almost no time that I can remember that she verbally ever said, you know what, I really appreciate the fact that you stayed up for the last 3 days working on my music, or you helped me to get connected to a company that put me on a private jet on BET. I mean, I don't remember CHAR ever expressing gratitude for anything. Now, did she show it by the way she served me and the family? Yes. But
okay, so stop right there. You just said you don't remember her saying it, but did she show it to you? You said yes.
That's the same point I'm making about her. Lynn, it's the exact point. She knows that I have showed her 30 years of nothing but service and unconditional love, and doing it from an empty vat of nothing. I did it with nothing. I understand. I came with nothing.
I understand that.
I poured out of what I didn't have to give CHAR and my girls and my father and everybody else, the churches, the people that I ministered to. So I don't want to be like I'm spazzing out here, but it works both ways, men and women. This is where things are going to get fun. This is where things are going to get fun. Is when men start to express the fact that they don't feel grateful, and the fact that sometimes they want a woman to climb on top of them and ride them to the sunset without bringing home flowers.
And I wanted to ride.
Home chocolate. Don't get me started unless y'all can. Don't start nothing you can't finish.
Right. So Jonathan, we hear all that. All we're saying is, for one, that CHAR said that wasn't an isolated incident. That was just an example. Two, you're saying she didn't say to you, but she showed you.
Excuse me, that wasn't an isolated incident. It's just an example. What are you talking about?
Okay, well, let me talk.
That was the worst thing I ever said to CHAR.
No, John. John, that is not.
And
I wasn't trying to go there.
It's okay.
John, I wasn't trying to get into all that, but you're not telling
around
the
what
truth.
hurt you.
John, listen.
You brought hurt
John.
into my life, something you never acknowledged. You brought all of your hurt into my life. The first
Can I say something? I'm so glad you guys are here. I didn't mean for this to turn into this. I'm sorry. Apologizing to everybody.
Like you said, this is a safe space that you've created.
It is. It's a safe space.
Yeah, and this might be good for him too.
Obviously, I'm still a little worked up.
How is he talking?
It's okay.
Muted.
Okay, go ahead, CHAR.
How did that even happen? John is focusing on that one thing because that's the one thing I just shared with the group. He knows there was a lot that was going on in our relationship, and I still try to protect him. I'm still not trying to put him out there like that. but he's not being honest with himself, which
Char,
is
you
why
don't
I had
have
to
to
leave.
protect me. You can put me out there because I know there's a reasoning behind all the
You
madness
cut me
that
off
went on in
again.
our relationship.
This is what was happening in our marriage, which is why I could never talk and we never could have any resolve. When we went to our, his father was our pastor. His father was our pastor. And when I went to his father as our pastor to tell him what was happening in the marriage, the last thing his father would say is, "Are you giving him enough sex?" So it never helped him to deal with the real issues. It only validated his behavior.
Char, we went
So
to two
there is a
counselors.
lot. That was later on, John. John, that was late. That was
you walked out of
15 years
Let's
later. That was
go.
15 years later.
Char, hold on. First of all, let's follow some rules. Jonathan,
yes.
You're a talker. You're a talker, and we listen when you talk. Okay? But Char needs to be able to have the floor when it's her turn to talk without interruption. So can we
apologize. This is what I've gone through for 30 years.
Okay, well,